Alright guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Alpha Heavy Gamer, and let's jump right into the review of the Mig-29 SMT, or the 9-19 model. I want to talk about some general impressions before I jump into the specifics. So I received this aircraft from Gaijin yesterday, and I climbed into the cockpit for some SMT domination, or so I thought. By all the hype and the dev server impressions I had, I assumed this jet was going to be like a god amongst mortals, but I was kind of wrong about that. So let's get into the details. So flight performance first. You are fast, you have good acceleration. This jet carries a lot of fuel, has very good endurance. This was the reason for the SMT. So it's kind of ironic that after the first time I flew it, I immediately stopped taking the centerline tank. It has too much endurance. I found out I didn't need the extra fuel, and like I said, I stopped carrying it almost immediately. It's just too heavy with the centerline tank. So after I stopped carrying the tank, I went between carrying the max fuel of 38 minutes and 30 minutes, and I settled on about 30 minutes, again because of the weight. You do fine with 30 minutes with some afterburner restraint, so you got to be a little bit careful, but the SMT is just very sluggish compared to the 9-12A and the 9-13. So depending on your playstyle, you'll find your happy medium, but I recommend against carrying extra fuel, especially that centerline tank, because you just bleed off speed a lot faster with this fulcrum, and you just have to be really careful that with so many of the F-16As and Cs flying around. I mean, honestly, the SMT flight model just feels very sloppy to me. To be somewhat competitive in it, you need to fly with a lot less fuel to get your agility back, but that kind of defeats the purpose of the SMT concept, which specifically addressed the limited endurance of earlier MiG-29s. So overall, the flight performance, kind of meh to me. I expected a little bit more. So switching over to weapons, and this is where the SMT shines. This is the saving grace for the jet. You have hands down the best semi-active radar homing missile in the game, the R-27ER. It continues to just dominate. You also have the R-27 ETs, the infrared version of the R-27. The ETs have more range than the Ts, which is pretty good. Now I tried using these as my main boomsticks with some mixed success. You can get locks at about 10 kilometers depending on the aspect and afterburner use of the foe. But most of the time the ETs end up being decoyed by flares that are meant for another threat. So using the ETs against a foe that is defensive against someone else isn't probably the best way to use them. Likewise, firing the R-27 ET into a furball with friendlies is also not a best use of the missile, because it's almost guaranteed to lock onto a friendly. You know how it goes. It's best used, I think, as an ambush weapon in conjunction with the infrared search and track. But since everyone is hugging the ground these days anyway, trying to defeat your semi-active radar homing missiles, the ETs could be a good alternative. But the main entree for the SMT is of course the R-73. Now these missiles are really good. The IRCM is beautiful. The high off-bore sight capability with the helmet-mounted sight is wonderful. But I don't get the feeling that the missile is overwhelmingly good. I think that goes to the AM9, and like I said, I'll talk about that in the F-16C video. The radar is very good in this jet. I have no complaints. The NO-10M gives you a little bit more range, 100 kilometers. And if you get your missile off first and then you crank to the gimbal limits of the radar, you're almost always gonna come out on top there. So obviously you only carry 6 missiles total on this jet. Your best loadout for ARB is gonna be the 2 R-27ERs and 4 R-73s. Like I said, if you like a challenge, you can load the 2 ETs instead of the ERs, and because everybody's hugging the ground anyway, maybe it'll end up working out in the long run for you. I give this jet though, the top marks for the weapons that it can carry. The advanced capabilities of the short-range R-73 coupled with the R-27ER beat out all competitors. And like I just talked about, you even have a long-range alternative for infrared in the R-27 ET. There's no other comparable weapon to the ET in the game right now. So moving on to the defensive systems, like other aircraft in the game, new RWR mechanics are amazing and enable the SMT to take the fight to the enemy more often, right? And increase your survivability. I just love it. You get the standard amount of 30 and 30 for chaff and flares. Nothing really to write about here, but with so many AM9s and Magic 2s out there that you encounter over and over again because there's so many players, it requires you to use a lot more of your consumables. I wish Gaijin would consider customizable countermeasure programs going forward, so I can just dispense flares if I wanted to dispense flares and not both of them all together. I just want direct control over the chaff and flare dispensing, and there's no sign of jammers yet, even though this aircraft could be equipped with them. I'll keep bringing jammers up until it happens, and it's got to be not too far away. Alright, so I left this part for last, the ground RB playability. I've mostly been playing this thing in air RB. I mean, you have some smart weapons. You have the Mig-29 TD, the KB500 smart bombs, but the SMT just wouldn't be my first choice for casts unless that's like the only thing you have. I mean, you don't have a thermal pod, so it's pretty much just meh for close air support. I would think that if you're going for the SMT, if you're grinding that, you probably already have planes like the Mig-27 M, the Su-25T, or even the premium Su-39 and that Su-25. Those planes are eminently more suitable and more survivable in the cast role, in my opinion, so I would just use those. So what's the verdict on the SMT? So I think it's just the end of the beginning. There will be more and better Mig-29s. This plane will get better. Should you bother grinding it? Yes, I think you should. The plane is good. It didn't wow me with its flight performance like the the 9.13 and the 9.12A. It just didn't. It's actually a little tedious to fly. You feel like you're just slamming this thing around the skies. I can't really put my finger on it or quantify it, but it just doesn't go where you want it to go just by thinking about it. But the increased endurance and the better weapons that the SMT is equipped with is really where the plane shines. If you're disappointed, like I said, just rest knowing this is just the end of the beginning. It's gonna get better. This plane will receive better R-73s because it can carry them. It can also carry the R-77. So Gaijin's just setting up the stage here for better planes that come along in the series. So the trade-off with this Mig-29 is that it is no longer nimble or even sexy like its younger self. It's grown a hunchback, literally. It has additional warts. It's all grown up. I still give this plane a must grind rating. You should get this. I'd rather be in the F-16C though, to be honest, but you should grind this plane out if you're at all interested in the Russian aviation tech tree. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think this plane was overhyped and you're kind of disappointed and you're not going to grind it at all? Or are you still going to get it anyway? Because like I said, it's going to open up opportunities for more capabilities as Gaijin adds them. Alright, thanks again for watching the video. See you later.